Happy to see so many of my friends here. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for being here. We're blessed this morning to be able to come together. Let me just pull up our Srimad Bhagavatam. So we're continuing reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 41. Pretty sure today's verses are text 17 through 23. Let's see if I'll share this screen for you.
Should be 18 through 23, I believe.
Okay, 18 to 23.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, 18 to through 23. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so we'll start. I'll just read through these verses and then we can discuss. Let's see what wonderful things the Bhagavatam is going to bring us today. Okay, so starting with text 18, because there's a few, I'll just read the English. Shukadev Goswami said, thus addressed by the Lord, Akrura entered the city with a heavy heart. He informed King Kamsa of the success of his mission and then went home. Text 19. Lord Krishna desired to see Mathura. So toward evening, he took Lord Balaram and the cowherd boys with him and entered the city. 20 through 23. The Lord saw Mathura with its tall gates and household entrances made of crystal, its immense archways and main doors of gold, its granaries and other storehouses of copper and brass, and its impregnable moats. Beautifying the city were pleasant gardens and parks. The main intersections were fashioned of gold, and there were mansions with private pleasure gardens, along with guild halls and many other buildings. Mathura resounded with the calls of peacocks and pet turtle doves, who sat in the small openings of the lattice windows and on the gem-studded floors, and also on the columned balconies and on the ornate rafters in front of the houses. These balconies and rafters were adorned with Vaidyurya stones, diamonds, crystal quartz, sapphires, coral, pearls, and emeralds. All the royal avenues and commercial streets were sprinkled with water, and as were the side roads and courtyards, and flower garlands, newly ground sprouts, parched grains, and rice had been scattered about everywhere. Gracing the houses' doorways were elaborately decorated pots filled with water, which were bedecked with mango leaves smeared with yogurt and sandalwood paste, and encircled by flower petals and ribbons. Near the pots were flags, rows of lamps, bunches of flowers, and the trunks of banana and betel nut trees. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives this description of the elaborately decorated pots. On either side of each doorway, above the scattered rice, is a pot. Encircling each pot are flower petals, on its neck are ribbons, and in its mouth are leaves of mango and other trees. Above each pot on a gold plate are rows of lamps. A trunk of a banana tree stands on either side of each pot, and a betel nut tree trunk stands in front and also behind. Flags lean against the pots. Okay, there's a lot of wonderful descriptions here. It's beautiful. So let's see where this is going to take us. I'm going to stop sharing here. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatahine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I was thinking about these descriptions of Mathura. So the first thing, I think the first verse that we read was 18, and described Akrura going back home, and he has a heavy heart. He has a heavy heart because, well, he's just come to escort Krishna and Balaram to Mathura at the request or command, I guess, of Kansa. And so in 18, he wants to stay with Krishna and actually see him into the city. But Krishna tells him, I will come see you later. For now, I need to satisfy all my other friends and relatives and continue on my way. But I will come to your house and see you. And so Akrura is leaving because he's leaving with a heavy heart because he wants to stay with Krishna. And this is after the pastime of Krishna having revealed himself in the river, in the river. Where he was able to see him in the water and see his form. And so Akrura understands this. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting is this idea of that Krishna is behaving with Akrura in a way where he's his friend. He has a lot of affection for him. And so we think of the situation where Kansa sent Akrura to go bring Krishna back with the purpose of killing them. Akrura wasn't the one that was meant to kill them. It was the other demons that were set into place to kill Krishna and Balaram. And if they didn't succeed, then the wrestling match would take care of all of that, of getting rid of them. So we know Kansa has been trying to kill Krishna for quite a while. He's been sending demon after demon. But one of the interesting things that came up is that Krishna knows why Akrura is coming to get him, because he knows everything. But even so, he's still treating him with love and affection, and is going to, not only did he reveal himself to him, he accepted his prayers, and he's going to go to his home. He's going to accept his invitation. And this is a very special and important quality of Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that he does things to set an example, because whatever he does, people will just follow. He tells Arjuna that if I stopped acting right now, if I decided to stop doing anything, then everyone else would stop doing everything, and then nothing would get done, nothing would happen. And he mentions, so this is that principle of that whatever a great person does, others will follow. And Krishna's displaying that. He's displaying it by showing compassion for the humanity of people, where he understands. Just think about it. If someone comes to you and they're luring you to go somewhere under false pretenses, they're saying, yeah, come to this match, but they know that once you get there, it's a setup and something bad is supposed to happen. So Akrura knows that he must know in his heart, because he knows who Krishna is. He knows that he's just doing his duty, and things are going to happen the way that this isn't actually described, but I'm sure he knows. Well, how sure can I be? It just seems logical that he knows that Krishna is not in any actual danger. But Krishna wasn't angry at him, and he accepted his invitation, and he's his friend. And so he understands Akrura is doing this because Kamsa's told him, and he even says to him, yeah, I know that you're under his protection, and so are the citizens. They're really not under so much protection, because look, he's willing to kill children and so forth to accomplish just his own personal mission. But Krishna has a way of showing compassion for humanity that is unparalleled. And there's something really interesting about that, because he comes in the guise of a human to show humanity, and therefore to have compassion for humanity. because look at the way that he behaved with Duryodhana. He was always kind to him, polite to him. One would even say loving, as they were related. But he never treated him as an enemy as such. And especially if we think about the expansion of Krishna being Balaram and how he was very close to Duryodhana. And so that is even more evidence of he's displaying what he talks about in the Bhagavad Gita, that someone someone who's pure, who's attained the highest realization, who has knowledge, sees beyond this friends and enemies. They see with equality. And so not only, he's not just saying that, he displays that with his behavior, with everything that he does, his interactions with people. And so this level of compassion, especially in the world like we have now, and it doesn't mean, as you can see, this is also the other part of that that's very, very interesting, because as you can see, just because he has compassion and he understands what's happening, and he transcends friend and enemy, it doesn't mean that he doesn't put a stop to the things that shouldn't be happening. As a matter of fact, he says that this is the reason why he's there. He's come there to put an end to well, he uses the word miscreants. That's the word that's how it's translated in the Bhagavad Gita. So this is an interesting balance of how do you hold compassion and understanding and empathy for humanity, whatever that may look like, because everyone is has a different level of consciousness, and at the same time know that that there are duties, and that there is a right thing to do. There's a righteous way to be, and there's a right thing to do, and that we can support that and display that in our own lives, and also hold each other up to those standards. So this is very interesting, because it's very difficult in this world to see people beyond that friends and enemy category. It's either one or the other. If someone harms us, or they're doing things that we can clearly see are not appropriate, it's very difficult to see them from the human perspective. But this is one of the things that we can strive for, this equal vision. And again, it doesn't mean you don't have to do something, you don't have to put a stop to it. Bhakti Tirtha Swami, in I think it was Transforming Lust into Love, he says you don't have to actually agree with the actions of your brothers, right? Your human the rest of the humans. But and you can actually put a stop to it. You can actually say, hey, no, we're not doing this. This is not okay. But it doesn't mean that you lose that sense of these are people, and they are my brothers and my sisters, and then in their own way they are suffering. And so that balance, to hold both, is a test of our consciousness. And so going back, okay, so that's what's happening with Akrura, and where Krishna's displaying something that I think is important. Every time we see this, it's an example to us of how to be. And he didn't blame Akrura for what Kamsa was doing. He knew that he was just doing what he was supposed to by going to bring him back. And he's playing along, right? He knows everything, and he's playing along. He knows what's going to happen. And so he's going along with it. And he says he did want to see Mathura. And so now we're entering the city. He's entering the city with Balaram and the cowherd boys. And it's being described how beautiful this city is. And I was thinking, why would this description be here? And I'd like to hear thoughts on that. But why is it that it's being described with so much detail? And it's describing this incredible opulence that is present in the city. And it's all over the streets. You know, one thing about the translation or the description being given by Chakravarti Thakur is that every doorway has a pot that has water, which is auspicious, and it has leaves coming out of it, and it's decorated, and there are flags. Every doorway, that means that every citizen is taking the time and putting the effort and the energy into beautifying their space. When you walk into the city, the beauty is clear, sure, the opulence is clear, but what's behind that is the consciousness of the people. It's the consciousness of the people that create an environment where opulence can thrive, where cleanliness is constant, where beauty is expressed. And so our consciousness, our internal consciousness, there's a direct correlation between how our consciousness is internally and the manifestations externally. And you walk into a neighborhood and you see garbage everywhere. It's thrown all over the streets. You can understand that there's a consciousness behind that. Or sometimes in a neighborhood, you'll see you know, a lot of the houses, they'll have nice lawns, and they'll have flowers, and they take the time to make their space beautiful. And then you'll see that one house that just has like overgrown weeds and things like that. And sure, we're not to say why that is, you know, what's going on for the people that are letting it become that way. However, it does speak to something. There's something in the consciousness that's not allowing for that that care, right? And perhaps they can't, but it is related. And so that house will stick out beyond all the others. You'll say, oh, look at this, there's something's not right here. And so when you walk in, this is probably a really simple example, but it fits, because when you walk into that neighborhood and you're walking around, even if it is your neighborhood and everything is beautiful, everything is taken care of, it inspires you to want to do that too. I'll say like, yeah, I want to clean my yard too. I want to make it nice. And so this is an example of how not my consciousness doesn't only affect my immediate surroundings, but how I treat my immediate surroundings then has an effect that trickles down to other people's consciousness and how they treat their surroundings. And so this is a form of association that we may or may not be aware of. Another thing, going back to consciousness and what's happening in this part of the Srimad Bhagavatam, is Krishna has left home. He's left Vrindavan. And if I'm not mistaken, he's never going to go back to Vrindavan. This is a new stage of life for him, where he's left his childhood friends, he's left what he was doing, his endeavors of cow herding, and basically his full-time job of playing with his cowherd friends. And now he needs to go and take care of some business, because Kamsa, and there are many other demons or demoniac beings that are taking over the royal families. And so now he's come to do something about it. So it's sort of like the end of his Adi Lila, and he's moving into Madhya Lila, going into the next step. And now he's going to do something that's going to change. So he's like extending himself. It's going to change political situations. It's going to change what's happening with the royal families, and what's happening in the different countries, and who's in charge, who's in power. So these things are going to have bigger implications than him just killing demons in Vrindavan, which was they were pastimes with his friends. Not only was he protecting them, but they were engaging in pastimes. And so Krishna's he's going to Mathura. He's never going to go back. He's going to miss all his friends dearly, all the cowherd boys and the gopis. And he has other business to attend to at this time. And so this is, again, due to consciousness, due to a personal philosophy. And when we look at the world and what has happened in the world and what is currently happening, how consciousness affects our surroundings, whether that's our immediate surroundings or our society at large, goes back to the foundation of what is our personal philosophy. What philosophy do I have in my consciousness, in my understanding, that I value and that I'm trying to live by, and that I therefore, by the way that I live my life, start to expand that to others. Because when we look at history and all the things that have happened, we can trace those things back. Say some political situation, you can trace it back to someone's ideology, someone's philosophy that they believed in strongly, and then they shared with others, and others thought, yeah, for better or for worse, they thought this is a great idea. Let's go with this. And a lot of good things have happened from having a philosophy that values life and that values other things like higher learning, higher understanding, compassion for living beings, empathy, all of those things. And some really horrible things have happened and are happening because of some ideology, some philosophy that someone is holding and has shared with others, has convinced others of, and they are acting on that. And so we can see in our lives the direct correlation between what I believe, how it affects me and my environment, how it affects others and the environment at large, and how that has implications socially, politically, and then throughout the entire world. And so it's important to see it that way, because if we know what our philosophy is, we don't have to study philosophy to have one. We all have one. What do we value? What do we believe in? What do we display to the world? What do we strive for and move towards in a philosophical sense, or even in the sense of consciousness? Because then I can understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, and we can understand why people are doing what they're doing, and we can sort of help create and foster change if we see it from that perspective. Because it also helps reconcile, how can I have compassion here and at the same time know that there needs to be change, either in my own life or in a larger sense, so say our community. So what do I hold dear? What's my philosophy? And how do I want to share that? And once we bring awareness to that, it has that much more, that consciousness of what we're upholding in our own lives, and that we do want to share it, however that may look. It may be through art, through music, through our work, through how we raise our children, through whatever it is, through volunteer work, through devotional service, whatever it is. How do I want to express my philosophy so that I contribute positively to this, to the larger sense, to the community, to the society, the state, the country, the everything. But it starts with us. And so I'm curious, let's see, time, okay. I'm curious to hear from all of you, what is one thing in your personal philosophy that has changed your life? Philosophy that perhaps someone else shared with you, whether it was your parents or your grandparents or your teachers or the people in this community, your mentors, your spiritual masters. What is it that has changed your life? What philosophy has come to you and now is changing, and how can we share that? How do you like to share it? I'm curious. I really want to learn from everyone else and see how they're doing life. Because then we can start fostering a world where you can see, yeah, people, people walk into the Bhakti Center and you can see the consciousness. You can see it. And it didn't just create itself overnight. This is the consciousness of every person who does devotional service there, or every person who visits and who comes with their own consciousness, and they're receiving that, and then they're telling their friends about it. So every single person has contributed to that, even the people that don't get to go in there physically and come to these programs online, that's still contributing. It contributes to the consciousness, it contributes to the entire community. Therefore, it contributes to the building. When people walk in, they feel it. And vice versa, that there's a community there. So when people come online, this is why there's people here every single day, because the consciousness has created such a space that we can come in and we can feel like we're with family. So yeah, let's share some of those things. I see Bhima Prabhu has his hand up.
Haribol Lila, Hare Krishna. Wonderful how you parse that out and bring it to earth, you know, as an object lesson. I remember asking Radhanath Maharaj one time when I was a bhakta, there were some new people coming in, and there was a, you know, the feast and of course a class, and I said to Maharaj, how is it that people are going to get this? How do they get this? You know, how are they going to understand the philosophy? Because myself, who had been there for many months, was still having trouble just with the Bhagavad Gita, just with Arjuna at war. And Maharaj said that they're here to feel the vibe. They're just here to catch the vibe. They're here to see whether we're happy. Are we truly authentically happy? Are we emanating? You know, you said that they see, you know, of course, the fruit, the tree bears a fruit, and we judge a tree. Is this tree healthy? Is the fruit sweet? So how we act, what we manifest around us, all these things are true, but all these things are symptoms of, you know, a soul who is content with his position. And that first meeting that we have with people, as you said, when people come into the Bhakti Center, there's this certain vibe. And we, in this new venture that, excuse me, I have to work while I'm talking. In this new venture that we've taken on with the guest retreat rooms in New York City, there's only so much we can offer due to our material facilities being so small and rather you know, humble in nature. But we've made sure that we've hired all devotees, tolerant, smiling, effulgent, enthusiastic devotees. And these, despite our lack of wonderful accommodations, we've managed to, you know, have like a 4.9, 5.0 on the reviews, because the people are so happy about their hosts. They're so happy about the devotees. This greeting, sort of like Krishna coming into Mathura, or a soul coming into the association of devotees, yet not knowing that they're coming into the association of devotees. And so their reviews are reflective of, this is a wonderful place. I felt so at home. My hosts were so open and caring, et cetera, et cetera. So I just, and that is, as you said, ideas, our philosophy has consequences immediately to the people around us, and that we have this responsibility that Prabhupada has made a home in which the whole world can live. So similarly, when somebody is in our presence, we should have a heart that is like a home, a hearth, you know, a hearth, a warm place that people feel welcome in our company. And I just wanted to say that how important that is. Hare Krishna.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Bhima, thank you so much. I love that ideas have consequences, and then yeah, a place where people can feel welcome and feel that vibe. Yeah, I love that. Just imagine if we can be such a person. I mean, this is what I would love in my future, to be such a person that people just come around me and they can feel not so much what I have, but something like what my teachers have given me. to be able to transmit what has been given to me, because I didn't have it, it was given. And so to be able to do that, to be transparent conduit for love and compassion, yeah, certainly, I think, a worthy goal. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And it doesn't take a lot, right? It's opulence. It isn't just expensive things. It's the things that have value. And that what you're describing, you know, hosting someone, receiving someone full-heartedly. And this is, I think, earlier in this chapter, or maybe the one before, it said that Krishna received a Krura and they washed his feet. And then I think the disciples who were translating, they describe even Krishna came and he's showing exactly how to receive someone, how to show the highest hospitality. And so that's also another example of what has value, not just expensive things. There are other things that have much more value. Anyone else? Anyone want to share something? Adi Purusha Prabhu. Yes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Bima Maria's here and she's in ecstasy. You see Maria?
Hi, Maria. Oh, nice to see you.
Anyway, such an extraordinary class, such an important topic about how we're in this together and we have effects. And you said, what has affected your life? And you mentioned your teachers. Krishna is so wonderful that he can work through us. And there's love and there's hate. Even a dog, when you approach a dog, the dog can see if you're afraid of him, if you're aggressive to him, or if you're, welcoming him. And I've been watching William, our friend William, who helps us with Krishna's Prasad distribution for the homeless, and he even talks to the dogs. He talks to the dogs, even from halfway down the block. He goes, "Hi, dog." I tried it the other day, and this man was a tiny little dog, and the dog came charging toward me to get a hug or something, and he knocked my bicycle over. It was so joyful, So that's an interesting thing, that we can affect each other. And there's love and there's hatred and there's fear and there's greed and there's envy and there's lust. But there's also the appropriate, underneath everything, everybody loves everybody. And we heard something just the other day about how in the same capacity, for example, husband and wife, and somebody said to me, I'm grappling with, do I want to have a wife or do I want to be a husband? Does a person want to have a husband or a person want to be the wife? And that we can treat people like things, and even parents sometimes basically eat their children alive in one sense, emotionally. Or we can actually be like we used to say in using LSD, the hippie culture, the vibe, that people laying a trip on you. Some people are toxic. Some people are toxic, You can tell that they bring you down, and other people are nourishing. So what helped us is Srila Prabhupada. In this world, everybody to one degree or another is crazy. You have to be crazy to come to this place where there's death, right? And people are envious of each other. But then here's someone who is not fearful and who is actually capable of having Krishna work through him and Krishna's love pour through him. And when you experience that, just like when you have a forest fire spreading from one tree to the other, or you have a disease spreading from one infected person to another, you can become so-called infected or uplifted by somebody else who has that power of love, Krishna's love flowing through them. And we notice in the Sankirtan effort, approaching people, 100 people, 200 people a day, talking to them, and they sense something, that you're not there to take something from them, that you're there because you care about them. Mm-hmm. And you can't do it. You can't actually do it mechanically. You have to be there for each and every person, and you can't do it without Krishna's empowerment and the Guru's grace, And then when we try, then Krishna's love flows through us, and people are uplifted. They engage in devotional service. So we're very, very grateful to hear this class. And we're all kicking around saying the same thing, just expanding on what you said. And Bhima, can you see Maria here?
Hi, Maria.
Bhima, can you see Maria? You can't hear him. Anyway, Maria's here. Das is here. Angel's here. And we're very grateful for this class. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you all so much. I'm grateful for all of this. Yeah, the first devotees I met were at the Bhakti Center. And so that philosophy has been, yeah, I mean, it changes everything. It changes how we see the world, how we see ourselves, how we see others, and what direction we're moving in. And that will look different for everyone, you know, the direction that we're moving in a sense. It will look like each individual journey. But if we choose, you know, we get to choose the destination. And so this philosophy has huge implications in how we live our lives. And it's the most valuable thing I've ever come across, and which is why I can't leave it, and why the devotees who remind me and remind all of us of all of you who remind us of, we're reminding each other of the philosophy and the different wonders that are found in this philosophy are the most valuable thing. So let's see, anyone else want to share something? I like the thing about greeting the dogs because, yeah, they're people too, and they can feel it. Yeah, all living beings. There's Bhima again.
There's a little person. You can
Who's
see
that?
him. That's Rocky. He's a little mini. I just wanted to say that. Can you hear me? By the way, I'm sort of
Yes.
out at the barn. Okay. So we understand that when Krishna comes into Mathura, he meets different characters. One being the is it the tailor or the washerman, who immediately denies Krishna because of Kamsa's governmental authority. So we actually have some of that. This phone is not facing. Are we on? There you go, Lila. Governmental authority, and then he denies Krishna, and then of course Krishna, and then he says some nasty words to Krishna and the cowherd boys, and then Krishna dispatches him. And then we have the garland maker, who is overwhelmed with love for Krishna. He goes next to a shop where the garland maker is, and the garland maker welcomes Krishna and makes a lovely garland for Krishna and the cowherd boys. And then we meet Kubja, who was carrying oils for Kamsa. And she knew that when she fell for Krishna and Balaram, she knew that she was putting her life on the line. We don't talk about Kubja much, but Kubja had everything to lose by sharing her ointments, by anointing Krishna and Balaram with those ointments, which were reserved for Kamsa. She could lose her life. So this was a great sacrifice. So we see that when Krishna enters Mathura, it's sort of like Krishna entering our hearts. We can take the mood of, I've got other responsibilities and other authorities who are more in control of my life than what Krishna and Guru has offered me or has brought to me. Or we can have the mood of the garland maker who, just wants to offer the most beautiful thing. Or we can have the mood of Kubja, who at the threat of their very life just falls head over heels in love with Krishna and his beauty, and offers everything, and taking all risk So these ideas, these philosophies, these feelings are all swept away for those who sort of fall as like the princesses of Mathura, that said even the ones that were nursing, they took their babies from their breasts and just laid them down. Some of them were bathing their babies, some of them were cooking, and they just like the gopis, they just left they left whoever they were with to run to the balcony to see Krishna and Balaram. So I thought that those all serve as wonderful examples by which our various and sundry consciousnesses can react to the idea of welcoming Krishna into the Mathura of our heart, and to cast out the Kamsa that is within us. Anyways, that's what I took from what you were saying. I hope I'm right. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. That's beautiful. Yeah, imagine that we value Krishna so much that all we can do is just run towards that person. But that's the practice. The practice is to just develop a higher taste, so that all the other things that kind of take our attention, they don't become the chains for us in this world. So yeah, it's not the things, it's how we relate to them, right? And what we value in relationship to them. So I certainly would like that level of attraction.
It bears mention, if it says seek first the kingdom of God, all else will follow. We won't be the loser if we give everything to Krishna.
Yeah. Radha Mulidhar ki jai. Hmm.
Jai, Lord Damodara.
Hi.
Okay, another baby Krishna and Mother Yashoda. Hare Krishna. Lila Devi, wonderful class. Thank you. Thank you. Amita Kishori, good to see you. Scarlett. Bhima Prabhu, good to see you. Horses are people too. Horses are devotees too. Okay. All right.
Thank you
So
all.
it's nice seeing you, dear devotees. Have a wonderful day. Be an instrument, a tool of compassion.
Yeah. Ananda Manjari, thank you so much for taking
Whoever
notes.
is in your life,
Beautiful.
by Krishna's grace, be nice to them. Give them prasadam. Listen to them. Be there for them.
Share
And
the
it will be
philosophy.
blissful. Our life will be sublime that way. Okay? Lila Devi, Hare Krishna. Wonderful, sublime class. As always, Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare
Bol.
Krishna.